Hello everyone, dear Barca fans. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel to stay updated on everything about FC Barcelona. Today, we have a huge revelation concerning Barca. But before that, let's talk about some very important topics concerning our beloved club. Let's start with the first point. Firstly, FC Barcelona demonstrates once again that its vision remains precise, ambitious, and attentive to talents who resonate with the style of play that has made us great. Brian Zaragoza, an unbalancing, electric winger with a perceptible hunger for glory in every action on the field, has taken the step we were all waiting for. He wants to sign for Barca, and this is not a trivial decision. In an era where money from other clubs seems to dominate wills, Zaragoza has clearly indicated that he prioritizes football, style, and history over paychecks. His decision to wait for the Blaugrana club, despite offers from other entities, places him on a special plane, that of players who come not just to compete, but to be part of something much bigger. His time at Bayern Munich was not the most comfortable. He failed to adapt to the cold and vertical environment of German football, something we had already anticipated, knowing his most natural virtues. Zaragoza needs a context of technical freedom, quick associations, and dribbles with a precise purpose, not just power. A scenario where pause, creativity, and intuition are valued. And that place can only be FC Barcelona. That's why it's no surprise that, after his experience away from home, his gaze turns again to La Liga and more specifically to our emblem. Zaragoza wants to feel like a player in a project that understands him, and Flick, who has studied him carefully, has given his enthusiastic approval. The sports management, led by Deco, knows the player well. They have followed him closely during his time at Granada and celebrated his emergence as one of the most promising wingers in the Spanish league. His ability to generate danger in one-on-one situations, his verticality, and that unpredictable instinct that breaks defensive schemes are rare qualities in today's football. We're not talking about just any winger, but a footballer capable of unlocking matches and giving another dimension to Barca's attack. That's why it's no surprise that the club is determined to find the economic formula that will allow his incorporation, even if it requires patience. The footballer, for his part, has clearly indicated his position. He wants to return to Spain, yes, but not to land in just any team. He has rejected advances from clubs like Betis, Celta, or Olympiacos, aware that the player will only move if the destination is Barcelona. And this determination is no small thing. It means that we are not dealing with just another player on the market, but with someone who already sees himself as part of the Blaugrana machinery, whose spirit and desire are already in our locker room, sharing the ball with our players, learning under Flick's direction, and offering himself as a key resource for tight matches, for nights that require imbalance and freshness from the bench. The loan to Osasuna served him to demonstrate that his talent remains intact. He played regularly, accumulated quality minutes, and once again attracted the attention of the national team coach. But most importantly, he regained confidence, that feeling of being useful, a protagonist, necessary. Zaragoza wants more. It's not enough for him to be a promise. He wants to be a reality. And at Camp Nou, yes, our Temple has the opportunity to exploit everything he has within him in service of a club that bets on players who play with their soul. It is evident that Barca's economic situation does not allow for any operation to be approached with the lightness of other times. But precisely for this reason, signings like Zaragoza's are so strategic. We are talking about a young player with room for growth, with competitive hunger, with experience in the elite, and who does not represent an exorbitant expense. In a market where many clubs inflate figures for talents without a track record, Zaragoza is a realistic, coherent, effective opportunity, and, above all, an incorporation that would fit perfectly into the project that Flick wants to consolidate. It's not just a matter of squad depth or adding resources from the bench. Zaragoza can be much more than that. In training, in less demanding matches, in necessary rotations, he can become that player who changes rhythms, who draws attention, who forces the opponent to always be alert. There aren't many pure wingers who combine speed, dribbling, and goal-scoring, and those who do exist have prohibitive prices. Zaragoza, on the other hand, is within reach if the club moves decisively. It is no surprise that players like Zaragoza prioritize Barca over other offers. This is the result of management that, without being carried away by external noise, has managed to keep alive the flame of what this emblem represents. Laporta, with his charisma, energy, and unconditional love for the club, has restored Barca's ability to seduce without needing empty promises. He has managed to make footballers understand that one does not come here just to play football, but to be part of a legacy. And this is what Zaragoza has understood by leaning without hesitation towards the Blaugrana project, that in Barcelona, we still breathe greatness, that the club with the door in front not only survives but fights, dreams, and builds with real ambition. Unlike other past managements that prioritized resounding names without context, Laporta and his team have known how to move intelligently. It's not about signing for the sake of signing, but about detecting talents that integrate, contribute, and understand the weight of wearing this jersey. Barca fans have reasons to be excited. We are not facing a media-glittering signing, but an intelligent move full of footballing sense. What do you think? Do you like the idea of seeing Brian Zaragoza in the Blaugrana jersey? Do you think he can be that spark we have so lacked in the final phases of some matches? Or do you think we should wait for a bigger operation? Whatever the position, one thing is clear. Barca is working well, choosing intelligently, and, above all, demonstrating that there are ways to compete without giving up its identity. Zaragoza can be the new face of this balance. Young talent, reasonable price, real desire to wear our colors, and potential for immediate impact. We don't need to look further when the answer is right in front of us. It's time to believe. It's time to close a deal that, without fanfare, can bring us a lot of joy. And above all, it's time to value the fact that there are still players who do not give in to the first offer, who do not sell themselves to the highest bidder. Zaragoza has chosen to wait for Barca, and that in itself is already a victory. Secondly, let's talk about a very important decision for our club. The name Bernardo Silva is resonating once again strongly in the corridors of Camp Nou, and this time with a different, exciting, and deeply symbolic nuance for Barca fans. The talented Portuguese midfielder, who has been one of the most important players at Manchester City in recent years, has clearly indicated to his entourage that his priority is to wear the Blaugrana jersey. After seasons of being linked to the Catalan club, with rumors coming and going without materializing and negotiations frustrated for various reasons, it is now the player himself who has taken the decisive step. Bernardo wants to play for Barca, he desires it, he feels it, and this changes everything. With a contract until 2026, his contractual situation still presents obstacles, but the player's desire to start a new sporting chapter away from England has been decisive in reactivating conversations with Barca with intensity. According to sources close to the operation, Bernardo has communicated to his agent, Jorge Mendes, his total preference for the Blaugrana team and has asked that every possible avenue be explored to facilitate his arrival. In this context, the role of Hansi Flick has been decisive. The new coach has given his absolute green light for his incorporation, aware that the player would bring experience, leadership, technical quality, tactical vision, and a style that perfectly fits the game model he wants to consolidate. It is not a whim of the market nor a media operation to distract. Bernardo Silva represents a real opportunity to strengthen the team with a very high-level player, with ideal footballing maturity and a rare profile in the market. His ability to combine in tight spaces, his reading of the game, his talent for activating passing lines, and his defensive involvement make him a perfect asset for the project that Barca wants to consolidate in the coming years. It is not only what he can offer on the field but also what he can bring to the locker room. Balance, international experience, and a winning mentality that always counts. Now, the big obstacle remains the same as always, the economic context. The operation is not simple from a financial point of view, and Barca knows that it will have to be very careful to find the appropriate formula that allows Bernardo's arrival without compromising budgetary stability. It is not about going overboard or mortgaging the future for a single player, but about recognizing when an opportunity deserves an exceptional effort, and this one undoubtedly does. Because not every day does a footballer of this level openly declare that he wants to wear the Blaugrana colors and reject other options to wait for the club's move. It is a gesture that speaks of love for the style of play, for the identity, and for the history that Barca represents. While other clubs doubt, discard, or cling to rigid youth policies without stopping to analyze the present value that a confirmed player can offer, Barca has the opportunity to make a difference. Because beyond age, what should matter is the real impact that Bernardo can have on the team. He is at his best footballing moment at 31 years old and still has several seasons at a very high level. And if his commitment for 7 seasons is confirmed, as has been suggested, we would be facing a clear demonstration of sporting loyalty and trust in the project. Bernardo would not come just to pass through or to sign his last great adventure, he would come to leave a mark. His arrival would also send a powerful message to Europe. Barca, despite the difficulties, remains an institution capable of attracting the best. It is not necessary to compete with stratospheric salaries or empty promises. It is enough to have an identity, ambition, and a credible footballing project. Bernardo has understood this. That is why, while others offered more money or immediate protagonism, he maintained his position. He wants to be part of Barca's renaissance. He wants to be part of a group that grows through play, that competes through ideas, that does not give in to the giants of the moment. He wants to enjoy football in its purest expression, and he knows that he will only find that here. The operation, of course, will require creativity. Formulas such as deferred payments, variables by objectives, or even loans with an obligatory purchase option are being studied. Nothing is closed, but the conversations are advancing. And most importantly, all parties have the will. The player has already said yes. The coach wants him. The management is working to balance the numbers. Only that final push that transforms desire into reality is missing. A push that is not easy but is worth it, because Bernardo Silva is not just any signing, it would be a declaration of principles. In this context, the opinion of the fans is crucial. What does the Barca community think? Should the club make an effort to sign Bernardo, even knowing that his price could strain some budget lines? Bernardo also represents a choice of quality without depending on media noise. While other clubs bet on immediate impact or names that bring more headlines than performance, Barca tries to do things right, to build from the game, and this is noticed in the type of footballers it prioritizes. That is why it is so valuable that it is he who wants to come, because he does so from understanding, because he does not come to impose, but to add, and that also counts. Let's ask ourselves, how many times have we had the opportunity to incorporate a footballer who, in addition to wanting to come, also fits our philosophy? How many times has a player of his category, with European titles, with an international career, with leadership, and with the hunger to continue winning, rejected other options to patiently wait for Barca to move? How many have been willing to make that gesture? Bernardo has, and that must be valued, because not everyone would do it. Some prefer comfort, others prefer immediacy. Bernardo has chosen what is right. To wait for the club he has always admired, the style he has always wanted to play. That is why, from a Barca perspective, we can only applaud this decision and trust that the club will find a way to make it happen. Because when talent, commitment, and the authentic desire to be part of this history come together, the fairest thing is for the doors to open. With intelligence, with planning, yes, but without losing sight of the essential. And you, Barca fan, what do you think? Does the idea of seeing him in the Blaugrana jersey excite you? Do you think the effort is worth it? The debate is open, but one thing is clear. When players like Bernardo knock on the door, the least we can do is listen and, if the project is serious, respond firmly, because the future is also built with players like him. Thirdly, let's talk about a major recruitment coup that Joan Laporta is finalizing. FC Barcelona has once again demonstrated that it doesn't need exorbitant millions or media campaigns to position itself as a club capable of attracting the most promising young talents on the continent. In an operation that has gained momentum in recent hours, the Catalan club is in talks with Borussia Dortmund to finalize the recruitment of German international Karim Adeyemi, a forward who is only 23 years old and represents the type of profile that fits perfectly with Barca's philosophy. Young talent, unbalancing, ambitious, hungry for growth, and ready to offer his best years in service of an exciting sporting project. The operation, which is being conducted with the usual discretion characterizing the movements of the sports management led by Joan Laporta, revolves around a very reasonable figure. 15 million euros for a player with enormous potential who has already demonstrated his ability to make a difference both in the Bundesliga and in European competitions. A price that, frankly, seems derisory compared to the figures bandied about in other clubs where the market is completely distorted. Barca is acting intelligently, moving at the right time and betting on talent without mortgaging its financial future. Karim Adeyemi is not just a bet for the present, he is an investment for the future. The German forward would sign for 7 seasons, which demonstrates not only the club's confidence in his abilities but also the player's commitment to the Blaugrana cause. In a context where many footballers prefer short contracts, exit clauses, or tailor-made negotiations, the fact that a young player like Adeyemi is taking the step to commit to a long cycle with Barca is an unequivocal sign that he believes in the project, the style of play, and the leadership of Hansi Flick. And that, in these times, is worth its weight in gold. It is no surprise that the player's representatives have rejected several offers from clubs that were also interested in him. Juventus, Bayern Leverkusen, and Newcastle had shown interest in his services, but none of these proposals managed to seduce the player's entourage. And it is not a matter of money, as some offered higher figures, but a matter of conviction, because Karim Adeyemi knows that Barça is not just another destination, it is not a passing club, it is an institution that transforms good footballers into global references. It is the place where legends are forged, and he wants to be part of it. In a brief but significant statement, Adeyemi has already clearly indicated what he feels about this possibility. It will be a joy to be able to wear the Blaugrana jersey. There is no need for long speeches or prefabricated phrases. With these words, it is enough to understand that we are dealing with a player who is not coming to fulfill a formality, but to live a key stage in his career. His attitude contrasts with that of other names who have used Barça as a bargaining chip or a media stepping stone. Adeyemi has chosen Barça with his heart, mind, and ambition, and this already places him a step ahead. Hansi Flick, who knows the German market well and has closely followed the young forward's evolution, sees in Adeyemi a perfect piece to add more speed, depth, and aggression to the team's offensive line. The German coach appreciates his ability to break lines, his unbalancing in one-on-one situations, and his defensive commitment, a quality that few wingers possess with the intensity he shows. Adeyemi not only attacks with decision, but he also presses, recovers, and associates with discernment. His football is vertical, direct, and effective. Exactly what the coach wants to add to a squad that is already designed with a very clear idea. Adeyemi's arrival must also be understood as a firm and immediate response from the club after failing to secure the recruitment of Nico Williams. While some media outlets try to present this operation as a failure for Barça, the reality is that the club moved quickly, found an equally exciting alternative, and did so without taking financial risks or depending on third parties. Let there be no doubt. If Laporta is betting on Adeyemi, it is because he believes he can make a difference. Not because a first option failed, and time will show who was the smartest. The comparison with other clubs is inevitable. While some rivals are busy inflating prices, looking for media recruitments without sense, or resorting to unlimited checks to fill structural gaps, Barça remains faithful to its philosophy. Silent work, young talent, long-term commitment, and sporting coherence. What have Juventus, Leverkusen, or Newcastle been doing for the past few weeks? They offer millions, yes, but they have not managed to convince Adeyemi, because none can offer him what Barça does. Identity, history, a defined style, and the real possibility of growing within a model that enhances players instead of devouring them. And if anyone in Europe still doubts the value of this recruitment, they have not understood the dimension of what Barça represents in the current panorama. Karim Adeyemi has not chosen by chance or under external pressure. He has chosen because he understands that this club offers not just minutes on the field, but a scenario where every action, every play, every goal can become a living story. He did not want to be just another player in an artificial project without a soul, like those that some clubs try to build with a checkbook. He preferred to be part of something real, tangible, with a deep legacy. That is the difference between Barça and those who try to imitate it. Barça's history is full of young players who arrived with enthusiasm and became giants. And Adeyemi has everything it takes to follow this path. His speed, dribbling, ability to break through on the wing, and flair for goals fit perfectly with the team's offensive style. But beyond the statistics, what really excites the Barça fan is his attitude. He did not hesitate, he did not speculate. He clearly said he wanted to come, that wearing the Blaugrana jersey would be a joy. How long has it been since we heard something so clear? In an era where the market is full of indecisive players, footballers who negotiate with 20 clubs at the same time, hearing a 23-year-old speak with such conviction is a breath of fresh air. Now, all that remains is to finalize the operation, settle the last details, and officially welcome a recruitment that can mark a new stage. Because Adeyemi can not only bring him balance and goals but also symbolize the change of cycle that the club is building with patience, order, and vision. There is no need to promise revolutions. Welcome, Karim. Your joy in wearing our colors will also be our joy in seeing you triumph where only the chosen ones arrive.